The winds guide you.
Hey guys, Classic Wins back again with another video. Sometimes when I play this game, I start to think of things that don't really matter. One thing that I've wondered for a while was how long would it take to run from one end of the continent to the other in the game. So since I couldn't find this info with basic Google searching, I decided I'll test it myself. So what I did for Kalimdor is I ran from Moonglade all the way to the Uldum Gates. This path here. And then for Eastern Kingdoms, I did basically the same thing. I ran from Booty Bay all the way up to Stratholme, and I made sure that I didn't have any movement speed buffs, I didn't get dazed by any mobs, and I didn't get ganked by any players. But before I reveal the times, why don't you guys just guess which one of these runs would actually take longer, and how long did each run take? So just by looking, it might be pretty obvious that the Eastern Kingdoms takes longer. In fact, much longer. Doing this run took about 1 hour and 9 minutes, and doing the Kalimdor run took 52 minutes and 48 seconds. Obviously, you don't have to go through as many zones, that's the difference. So anyways, mystery solved. But then I thought of something else. I've heard this in the past, and I've seen it in a lot of content creators in the community, that the run speed was buffed in Cataclysm, and people wondered if Blizzard would use the original vanilla WoW movement speed in Classic. So I did a bunch of searching and I couldn't find any information on how much the movement speed had changed. So I did the only natural thing that someone would do in this case, waste a few more hours of my life and repeat these runs on the Battle for Azeroth client using the exact same path. For Kalimdor I had to use water walking to get through the Shimmering Flats area, but basically it's the same otherwise. Now let me ask you this, how long did the Kalimdor run from Moonglade to the Gates of Uldum take in the Battle for Azeroth client? Was it much less than 52 minutes and 48 seconds? Much more than 52 minutes and 48 seconds? Or roughly the same? Well, after repeating the test, I found that I got a time of 53 minutes 11 seconds, which is really close to the original time done on the emulated server. So I repeated the run for Eastern Kingdoms, and I got a time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 28 seconds on the Battle for Azeroth client as well. So what does that mean? Well, it could mean one of three things. It could be that 1. Private servers were wrong and used the wrong movement speed, which I've never heard anybody saying that before. 2. And get your tinfoil hat on for this one, Cataclysm did buff the movement speed, but they also stretched the world out at the same time, so that it takes the same amount of time to run. So they increased the movement speed by 20% and then also stretched the vanilla world by 20%. Not likely. Or 3, the movement speed buff never actually happened. And this is the most likely one, as searching through and reading patch notes for all the expansions, I could not find any mention of a movement speed change taking place between vanilla and now. So now you may say, but Classic Wins, couldn't you have just tested running for like 30 seconds in an area to see that? Why did you waste 2 hours of your life? And the answer to that is yes. I could have. So I did that too. So here's a side-by-side of two characters in the same spot running for about 20 seconds. They both run into the tree at 21 seconds. The one on the left looks like it's going faster, but it never actually gets a lead. So this is one reason why we think that we move faster in today's game. It's that the run animation is so much smoother and has more movement to it in general for every race. The other reason why we think this is that most people change their aspect ratios. Most of us back in 2005 had a 4:3 monitor, and today basically no one does. So why don't we have a look at how that might have changed things. Here we have the same client, side by side, one in a 800 by 600 resolution and another in a 1920 by 1080 resolution. The one on the right looks faster now, even though we know it's the exact same. And I think this is what gave the illusion of a quicker movement speed. I could be totally wrong though. Today we learned not to trust people who say things on YouTube, so I encourage every one of you to run from Moonglade to Uldum theirself and test this. Maybe even start a speedrunning category and see who can do it the fastest. I mean, we have nothing else to do until Classic WoW's out, so go ahead, knock yourselves out. Another question I had was, how big actually is the game? By that I mean, how far is it in a real distance? And is it even possible to determine that? And there is a way, kind of. If we look at a spell that has a range of 40 yards, and then we can see how long it takes a person to outrange that 40-yard spell. And if we do that, it takes about 5 seconds to run 40 yards, which means we run at a movement speed rate of 8 yards per second, which is kind of cool to know in itself. It means that blink is about 2.5 seconds of normal movement, charge is about 3 seconds of normal movement, and sprint is about 5.5 seconds of normal movement. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. With that 8 yard per second rate, we can multiply it by the total seconds, which is 3,168, that I spent running from Moonglade to Uldum, and determine that the distance was 25,344 yards. Convert the yards to kilometers, and we get about 23.1 kilometers, or 14.4 miles. For Eastern Kingdoms, we can repeat the math and find out that we ran 33,344 yards, or 30.49 kilometers, or 18.94 miles. So I guess World of Warcraft is pretty small then. With a lot of looping in the paths, it means that this wasn't even a straight line, which means that both continents are actually less than 30 kilometers long. Anyways, that's what I do with WoW sometimes. So thanks for joining me and looking at a lot of useless information. Maybe one day Blizzard will give us this game so I can actually start playing it, but until then, this is all we can do. Did any of you ever think about something in WoW and not find an answer? Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll find it for you. Remember to like, subscribe, swipe right on Tinder, Updog, all that good stuff. This has been Classic Wins. Thanks for watching. Why are you still here?